an individual or you as a network? Okay. There are things that we will do regularly. I think Estudiar is a good example to keep people engaged. You know, the day-to-day is members. You know, members conversing with members, and in our case, members are patients or caregivers of people with diabetes. So once a month we have, we call them video chats, and a few people in the beginning thought they were going to have like people on video chatting with people, and we was like, not quite. I hope you're not disappointed. So we would turn on a Ustream and have someone at the other end broadcasting, and we enable the chat directly beneath it. And on occasion, if the person delivering on the other end also had some slides prepared, which we would embed the slide share somewhere in between or whatnot, so they could follow. Now I'll turn to slide clock. And I mean, that was like the one synchronous event that we would have on a monthly basis. And we have partnered with the Federación Mexicana de Diabetes, the Mexican Diabetes Federation, for that. So they are in charge of finding the, I mean, this is after years of working with them, so obviously you have to develop that relationship before, but they take on finding the expert, you know, whether it's nutrition, diabetes, or pregnancy, or like eyes, or kidneys, or whatnot, and being there, you know, the challenge becomes one of bandwidth. Sometimes, you know, the connection is like spotty, but that aside, you're basically providing direct access to an expert, you know, at no cost, you know, and they can just fire questions like at will, and like so, it becomes a refreshing, very re-engaging way for members who are otherwise used to dealing with their peers, their equals. And not to say that these are gods, but it is the specialist you're being able to talk to. Conducting these kinds of awareness programs is another way. I mean, you can't do this every month unless you have like a sizable staff, but these are efforts that if you are consistent about them, Big Blue Test was one. We started in 2009, we did it for the first time. Actually, it wasn't even called the Big Blue Test. The Big Blue Test is an initiative we started with the goal of, it was literally the first time it was strictly a PR idea. I'll be blunt about it. July 14th, 2009, we were going to reach 14,000 members between the two communities. So my first thought was like, okay, press release, let's fire that away. It's like, this is boring, who cares about that? So I thought, like, how can I get media to pay attention to this? I mean, like, what kind of story could we tell that maybe some, you know, maybe if it's on the blog of some newspaper, they'll capture it and put it up. So I thought, why don't we have, like, everyone on the two networks test their blood sugar at the same time? So it became 14,000 people with diabetes test their blood sugars at the same time. And then somewhere there would tell the story that we now have 14,000 members. So that worked really well, and some things that we didn't anticipate happens, like people were like, oh my God, we're all these people, it was like the biggest traffic day ever. You know, we had the biggest spike, we have never had as much traffic in a single day, in part because of things that we shouldn't have done, but we did, but I won't go into that. but now why would I want to tell you it was an extraordinary community opportunity, so you don't hang out with that many people at once doing the same thing. So it was a big uniting moment for the group, and we thought we had in our hands, again, pay attention to what's happening, what the community is telling you. We had in our hands an opportunity for a great program, and it became the Big Blue Test. We rebranded it. It was cryptically named until then 14K PWD, 14,000 people with diabetes. So you can see why we rebranded it Big Blue Test. Blue is the color of the World Diabetes Day, how it's designated, and we made it happen every November 14th. So we started that in 2009, last year 2010, and we turned it into an experience to remind people of the importance of diabetes, of exercise for diabetes. Test, exercise for 14 minutes, test, and share the experience. Again, it not only was a big community moment in the first and the second year, but it was an aha moment for a lot of people. It's like, oh my God, I mean, like, I didn't think that, a brisk walk for 14 minutes would do this to my blood sugar. This is amazing. So we had a lot of those responses, and I think those kind of can help to break, I wouldn't call it the monotony, but like, you're not going to have groundbreaking questions all the time. I mean, like, so you may go to the network, ask something, get your answer, be happy, and maybe come back 2 weeks later. What about this? Go back. And maybe some people are there all the time, but I think this kind of helps bring a lot more people and breathe life into an otherwise very informative and support-centric kind of experience. Does that?
Absolutely.